For more on what we can expect from the French government later on today, we can bring in our French politics editor, Marc Perelman. Marc, the Prime Minister is going to speak at 7 p.m. tonight. What's going to happen?
That's a good question. That's $1 million question. The Prime Minister is, as we speak, meeting with the President at the Élysée Palace. This shows that the decisions will be made at the very last minute, down the wire, like Emmanuel Macron likes to do, because he has tried not to enforce a new lockdown. What we already can tell is that there will not be a national lockdown like the one we've seen exactly a year ago, like the one we've seen back in October, November. The government has already said we're trying regional approach, that we want to make sure like we target the areas where really the epidemic is out of control. This is essentially the Paris region and the northern region of France. The Paris region, obviously 12 million people, lots of density, and so this is really a very difficult option. What we're told is that there could be either a lockdown during the weekends, like has been already put in place in some areas of
like
France.
Nice, yeah.
It could be a weekly lockdown, but just for the Paris area and the northern region of France. Schools would remain open, and now there's talk of maybe trying to find a new hybrid lockdown where there would be much more enforcement in preventing people from meeting indoors, be it at work or in other places, but allowing them maybe to go outdoor, the assumption being that obviously the virus is much more dangerous when people gather inside than when they gather outside. Obviously, it's very difficult to see how you could implement this, but Emmanuel Macron wants to show that he is trying his utmost not to enforce a national lockdown. He knows that the hospitals are calling for this, but he already knows that it hurts the economy and the mental health of the French, and especially the youth.
Because imposing a lockdown in any form is politically tricky for the president, who said he wouldn't have a lockdown back in January.
Yes, many commentators and many politicians and even members of the government regret that he did not impose a lockdown when he was asked to do so in late January. Emmanuel Macron said he took a gamble, that he believed that without imposing a lockdown, we could manage to reach the point where the effects of the vaccination campaign would offset the rise of the British variant and so on and so forth. He's losing that gamble right now. So obviously it's a very tricky proposition politically, because he could be criticized if really things get out of control on the health plan. And so clearly this is a very, very tricky situation. This is why probably Emmanuel Macron is trying to find a novel way to deal with the issue. He's probably going to repeat that vaccination will be boosted, but the problem is the supply is not there, and you cannot invent vaccines. You have to get them and get them into the arms of people, and this is not happening fast enough to prevent those additional measures that will be announced tonight.
Let's see what happens with bated breath indeed. Marc, thank you very much for that, Marc Perelman.